Very nice. Yeah, I did.
Well, how many watts are it? Well, I changed every light bulb in Parma High School. Electric going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we hoping for?
$12,800 savings a year. 12 grand a year between 3 buildings. Right. Garage.
We're going to be a couple minutes.
We're live.
Indians are winning 5-0.
I would have bet on that.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
12 watts a piece. Yep. These other ones.
The Indians
Some
are
are
winning
1 by
50,
50,
some
some
are
are
200.
200. 30. Imagine.
Who do they play?
Detroit.
Detroit?
And the odds were 4-1. We're going to get a rebate.
You've gotten more gray hair since you.
I have, yeah.
I thought that was Flower from down at Orlando's.
Alright, Stuart, so which side am I supposed to put my crap on? Because you seem to have yours on one side, which means I'm taking up 2 of the ledges.
Whatever makes you comfortable.
I'm just trying to get out
Maybe
of
in
the
the
way.
middle.
That's what I was asking.
Or take the briefcase.
This is the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 9, that was dismissed and declaring an emergency, and to amend the agenda by entering resolution 43-2017 onto the agenda as item number 9G as an emergency measure.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
The agenda has been amended, and we'll now begin with the reading and disposal of the journal.
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Frondorf.
Having read the council minutes of the council meeting dates of public hearing September 20th, 2016, November 28th, 2016, December 19th, 2016, special council meeting September 20th, 2016, special council meeting July 31st, 2017, special council meeting August 21st, 2017, special council meeting September 5th, 2017, and regular council meeting held July 24th, 2017. I find no errors or omissions. Therefore, I move that they be approved as printed.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
All of the aforementioned minutes are approved. Move on to the consent agenda dated September 11th, 2017.
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Frondor.
If there is no division of the question, I move that we accept the consent agenda dated for September 11th, 2017.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Consent agenda dated September 11, 2017 is passed. Are there any resolutions of commendation?
There are none.
Reports of committees. The Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee last met on July 17th. Those meeting minutes are filed with the clerk, and our next meeting will be held on September 18th. Public Works Committee, Councilman Petro.
Mr. Chairman, I was talking to Mr. Kukrow there for a minute.
We'll come back to you. Community Services Committee, Councilman Bicker.
We met on September 5th. Minutes are on file with the clerk. Our next meeting is October 2nd.
Thank you. Police and Safety Committee, Councilman Kranek.
Police and Safety meeting, next meeting is scheduled for September 18th.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Councilman Kukrow.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled for next Monday, September 18th.
Thank you. Rules, Ordinances, and Ethics, Councilman Biassiata.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our last meeting was September 5th. Those very lengthy meeting minutes are still underway, and our next meeting's on October 2nd.
Those will be tough minutes. Thank you. Finance, Civil Service, and Personnel, Councilman Frondor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Our last meeting was held on September 5th. Our next meeting will be held on the 17th, and the minutes are forthcoming.
Thank you. And Public Works Committee, Councilman Petro.
Mr. Chairman, we met on September 5th, and the minutes are on file with the clerk.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any appointments and confirmations?
No, sir.
Are there any communications, petitions, and claims?
There are none.
Okay, council will now be open to the audience on legislation only. If you have any comments regarding anything on our agenda this evening, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Okay. Ordinances and resolutions. Amended ordinance number 101, 2017.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Petro.
I move that council suspends the rules under the charter and reads ordinance 101, 2017 by title only for its final reading.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 101, being introduced by Mayor Delacuilla and Councilman Traffus, Frondor, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a 5-year lease agreement on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, with University Hospital's Parma Medical Center for the purpose of leasing 750 square feet of office space, along with non-exclusive use of the public recreational space, including the pool, locker rooms, and community rooms, and common areas within the recreation center, and the common areas and public parking areas on the premises within the Seven Hills Community Recreation Center to University Hospital's Parma Medical Center, formerly known as Parma Community Hospital, for use by physical therapy patients.
Amended ordinance number 101, 2017 has been read for its third and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman
I
Petro.
move that council passes ordinance 101, 2017.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 101, 2017 has passed. Moving on to ordinance number 108, 2017.
Mr. President,
Councilman Bicker.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read ordinance 108-2017 by title only for its first time and declaring an emergency.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 108, 2017, introduced by Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Westland Heating and Air Conditioning of Westlake, Ohio, for the purpose of replacing the Trane RTU compressor on the City of Seven Hills main City Hall rooftop unit number 1 with appurtenances in an amount not to exceed $8,860 for said service and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance number 108, 2017 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion? Councilman Bicker.
I move that we pass ordinance 108-2017.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 108, 2017 is passed. Moving on to resolution number 39, 2017.
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read resolution number 39-2017 by title only for its first and final reading.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 39, 2017, introduced by Mayor Delacuilla and Councilman Traffus, Frondor, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Resolution number 39, 2017 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we adopt resolution 39-2017.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 39, 2017 has been adopted. Moving on to resolution number 40, 2017.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kranek.
I move that we suspend the rules under charter and read resolution number 40, 2017 by title only, declaring emergency for its first and final reading.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 40, 2017, introduced by Mayor Delacuilla and Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution approving and accepting a temporary utility easement granted to the city of Seven Hills, Ohio by Janet G. Craigenow for the installation, construction, and maintenance of utilities, together with all appurtenances on permanent parcel number 552-07-083-725 Nemeth Drive, appropriating the sum not to exceed $310 for the acquisition of said easement and declaring an emergency.
Resolution number 40, 2017 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we adopt resolution number 40, 2017.
Second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 40, 2017 has been adopted. Moving on to resolution number 41, 2017.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read resolution number 41, 2017 for its first and final reading and declaring an emergency by title only.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 41, 2017, introduced by Mayor Delacuilla and Councilman Traffus, Frondor, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution approving and accepting a temporary utility easement granted to the city of Seven Hills, Ohio by Vassal Coburn for the installation, construction, and maintenance of utilities, together with all appurtenances, on permanent parcel number 552-06-044, 827 Cherry Lane, appropriating the sum not to exceed $310 for the acquisition of said easement and declaring an emergency.
Resolution number 41, 2017 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we adopt resolution number 41, 2017.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 41, 2017 has been adopted. And now we will have the first reading of resolution number 42, 2017.
Resolution number 42, 2017, introduced by councilpersons Traffus, Frondor, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution to accept, support, and adopt the rules and regulations of the City of Seven Hills Civil Service Commission, recently revised August 15, 2017.
Resolution number 42, 2017 has been read for its first reading. We're now going to move on to resolution number 43, 2017, and I'm going to recuse myself from this and hand the gavel to Councilman Frondor.
Yes, I move that council suspends the rules under the charter and reads resolution number 43, 2017 by title only for its first and final reading.
I'll second that.
Please call the roll. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 43, 2017, introduced by Councilman Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. The resolution authorizing the city to accept the reimbursement of $5,490 from Matthew A. Traffus for legal fees associated with the moral claim that was unanimously passed by council in regard to Parma Municipal Court Case 15-CRB-03959 that was dismissed, and declaring an emergency.
Resolution number 43, 2017 has been read for its first and final reading. I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 43, 2017. Is there any discussion? Oh, I need a second.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? I'm going to say this. I know that people are wondering, maybe wondering, why this has been amended to our agenda. And the reason is because Matt Traffus decided over the summer recess to reimburse the city for the $5,490 moral claim. Our law director advised that it is necessary for council to accept this reimbursement through legislation, which we're doing this evening. Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 43, 2017 has been adopted.
Council will now be open to the audience. If you have any comments regarding anything at all, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Okay, we will now have the reports and communications from the Mayor and Safety Director, Mayor Delacuilla.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. It's hard to conceive that we are so far down the road from the tragedy in New York City. September 11th is a day that to me will be forever emblazoned in my mind. I believe that it was, I may stand corrected here, I believe it may have been the single largest loss of civilian life in one day within the contiguous United States. To paraphrase FDR after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, a day that will live in infamy. We are a large, diverse nation, multiple cultures, multiple viewpoints. But when we're attacked, we come together as one. We're now down the road so far from that incident. We have a new generation coming up that hasn't had a firsthand experience of at least viewing it on television. I'm much older, obviously, and I can recall a little bit anyway of the Korean War. We've lost so many people who fought and lived through the Second World War. But we must do everything that we can as a culture, as a society, to make sure that we never forget an attack such as this and what it means for us as a country and how it can bring us together in the face of such overwhelming disaster. We are a tough, resilient people. We will continue and press on, and we will prevail. And just a word about our first responders, the sacrifices that they made, the lives that they saved, the injuries and ailments that they suffered as a result of fulfilling their duties. They ran toward the disaster, not away from it. We must never forget what that day meant to us as a society, and we must continue in the memory of those people to press on and to prevail. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Reports from the directors of departments and other officials. Director of Finance, Herwick.
No report.
Thank you. Director of Law, Pignatello.
No report.
Director of Public Service and Properties, Levis.
Two things, Mr. President. May see a little different, a little bit brighter above the dais. We started the First Energy Rebate Incentive Project that council passed. Was it the last meeting or meeting before? Where they, First Energy will rebate the city approximately $17,000 for new LED lights, which will save us about, or actually more than $12,000 a year. As an example, each of these bulbs only draws about 12 watts. And if you look above you and see the ones that are yellow, we haven't replaced. Some of them are 200 watts and others are 150. So that's a tremendous savings in electricity in just this room alone. Next topic is East Ridgewood sanitary sewers. And we made some progress in finding out what's causing the flooding in that area in the sanitary sewers. We televised the sanitary main during a light to moderate rain event, and that's the best time to do it where the camera's not underwater, but you get to see some of the flow and where it's coming from. We saw that the city does have some leaky joints in the pipe that need to be repaired, and that's been referred to the engineering department for resolution. We also found heavy flows coming into the sanitary main from each of the homes, several of the homes, and that warrants the city to do a study like we did on John Glenn for inflow and infiltration to find and pinpoint the illegal connections and try to reduce the wet weather flow and reduce the likelihood of sanitary backup. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Building Commissioner Vitardi.
No report at this time.
Thank you. We will now have Council Miscellaneous, start at the end this time. Councilman Biassiata.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a couple of remarks tonight. I want, a little late on this, but thank our Community Service Director, Tony Terry, for the wonderful job he did on home days. He not only was a significant part of bringing back a tradition, he was able to do it this year at a profit. So there was no net cost to the city. So great job, Tony. I think I'll end my comment there.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bicker.
Mr. President, I usually don't say too much up here, but I have a few things today. I agree with Councilman Biassiata Tony did a lights out job. This is for Rich. Rich, this is campaign season, and I hear about different departments when I'm out. And the residents spend tens of thousands of dollars for their property, and they're very passionate. And you're not alone. We hear a lot of stuff, a lot of criticism. It's the nature of our job. But I personally have no issue with you. All right, secondly, Tim. This is for Tim. I've worked with Tim for over a year. Few people I know have as much passion about Seven Hills. I had the pleasure of being part of a 7-hour meeting on Seven Hills financials back in January. I had a headache for about 8 days after that meeting. About a month or so ago, Tim conducted what I believe is the first ever midway point of monitoring our finances. He brought in the department heads not to criticize them, but to show possible red flags, so going forward, we would be able to stop anything that was going in the wrong direction or give it a shot. And finally, I want to thank Matt for his payment, and hopefully this issue's over. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Bicker. Councilman Kranek.
No comment, Mr. President.
Councilman Kukrow.
No comment.
Councilman Petro.
No miscellaneous, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Frondorf.
Yes, I'd like to echo what the mayor said about 9/11. A couple of interesting points. It was an event that I'm sure anyone who's lived through it will remember exactly where they were when that event occurred. And I can tell you, I was in Indiana at the time, and walking through a hotel lobby, and I saw a plane strike. They had it on television. The plane struck the World Trade Tower, and I was like flabbergasted, just absolutely flabbergasted. It's also interesting to note that that happened 16 years ago, and there are people that are in high school right now that have absolutely no recollection of that event, other than what they've seen on television or heard from family and friends. And talk about resiliency. My absolute favorite resilient statement that I took away from that event. Does anyone remember "Let's Roll"? And that's resiliency. That was the group of people that crash landed in Pennsylvania, and the passengers on the plane took it in their own hands, and they rushed the cabin of that fated airliner, and unfortunately a crash. But they didn't give up. I mean, they absolutely didn't give up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I just have a couple quick things. Before I begin, I want to welcome one of our young residents of Seven Hills, Nick Talion, who is here today for his U.S. government class at St. Ignatius. I too went to St. Ignatius, as does the law director's son. He's a student there right now. And who's your teacher for this class? Okay, he wasn't a teacher when I was there. He was our assistant principal for something. He was the enforcer. And tell him I said hello.
You had some personal experience with the enforcer?
No comment. It'll probably be used. It's a great school. Keep focusing on your studies there. If you do well at St. Ignatius, you can do anything you want, and I know you can do that too. So thanks for being here. I want to echo what a couple of councilmen said about Tony Terry and Home Days. He did a terrific job with this event after we took the 1-year hiatus. Very proud of the work he did, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to bring to Seven Hills in the future. Last thing, quick item of business, I have a zoning board of appeals variance. We discussed it briefly in caucus. I'm going to make a motion to grant a variance to applicant and property owners Henry and Carol Poutre of 716 East Dawnwood Drive, a variance to ordinance number 963.02B1 to construct an 8x8 shed 2 feet 9 inches from the side yard lot line, as shown on the drawings that were submitted with the application.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Variance has been granted. And with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, God bless you. She enjoyed what she did today.
Really?
You go, girl. I said, you go, girl. Tim, you want to sign that one, please?